Hi everyone and happy Friday. Today I do not have my sidekick Peg with me, but I wanted to get this information out to you just so that you have it and so that I don't forget as well. One thing that has come up during our observations and when we have our post-observation conversation is how we are engaging the children and calling on those students to respond. And it is really interesting because I get the luxury of being an observer, and when someone observes you, you do tend to notice different things that someone who is working right in the moment and all energized and doing different things might not notice as much. And a lot of times I have conversations with teachers about calling on students, and they are really grateful for that because they don't even realize whether they didn't call on a student had their hand up and they didn't notice it, or that they had repeatedly called on the same student to answer. So just interesting things there, and you won't realize it until someone does take that opportunity to kind of give you that feedback from a distance. And while I've been researching on different ways of calling on students, one thing that has always been mentioned in all of the things that I have been reading is about bias. And how we may gravitate towards one student for some reason, which is kind of interesting. I've never thought of it that way, but now reflecting on some of my own teaching in the past, or when I'm in faculty meetings, when you know that someone is listening and going to contribute, maybe sometimes you do kind of gravitate towards that person. So it really is about building community in your classroom. And also, I read a different reflection that made me think a different way as well. A student that had come home to her parents and was talking about how they felt maybe the teacher didn't like them because they always had their hand up, but they weren't called on as much. And that's interesting because we know that those people that have their hands up a lot of the times are the ones that do know the answer. So we want to give other people an opportunity to answer as well. But the student took that personally and brought it home and was thinking, oh, my teacher doesn't like me. So really remembering too that children perceive things in a much different way developmentally than adults may. So having those conversations in your classroom, talking about why you're choosing people randomly, why you may not always get chosen is so important, and to continually revisit that as well. I have notes on the board. Obviously, they are backwards because I am doing this video myself, but they're really just for me to remind myself to talk to you about them. So calling on students, I've seen a lot of people use the Class Dojo randomizer, which is awesome, and the avatars there that you can choose randomly students. Also with the popsicle sticks, good old-fashioned favorite way of doing things. Pick out one stick and then put it in upside down so you're not repeatedly picking the same stick or losing it, because believe me, I've been there. I've had sticks all over, didn't know who's calling on what or whatever. So having kind of a strategic way of doing that. Playing cards is always one way of doing it. Of course, I do love my spin wheel, and I don't get to use it as much as I would like to. Post-it notes. Maybe at the start of the day you put one post-it note on everyone's desk, and then you pull the post-it notes as they contribute to a class discussion. And then also, whatever subject you're talking about or vocabulary, place those on the desk, or assigned a word to a student, or if you're learning about elements or the periodic table, that might be a little bit up, but assigning something or a letter to each student might help as well. So I hope this has helped you a little bit, and I hope you all have a great weekend. Thank you.